Hello. I'm bang in the middle of the menagerie here. There is a puppy around, so if there's all kind of skitter-scattering, I'm just gonna have to carry on through it because I really want to make this video and get this message out. So I'm after having my mind blown this week by the inimitable Pam Gregory and her video entitled Imaginal Cells. And I'm not going to try and recreate her explanations because she's so precise in the way she was explaining it, and it's so beautiful. I want you to go and discover that yourself with her. And I am just going to give my spin on what this means for me in terms of symbolism and in terms of the work that I do, and how I think it can, how I think we can bring it in as a practice to find out where we may be looking for evolution and expansion and maybe not even know it. So let's go ahead. So imaginal cells. Imaginal cells, and this is the story of the caterpillar to the butterfly. Now, anyone who knows me knows that the butterfly has long been one of my kind of symbols, one of my totems, whatever you want to call it, something that has been woven heavily into my life through clothes, through decoration. I have a tattoo that I've been sporting of a butterfly for the last 20 years. So for anyone who knows me, it's kind of synonymous with who I am. And the interesting thing for me with the butterfly symbolism is it has deepened along with the expansion journey that I've been on, that many of us are on, that that what we're here for, and so there are these obvious symbolic representations of the butterfly, or the what it invokes in us, this idea of the ultimate transformation, the transformation from beautiful in its own right, magical in its own right, but the humble caterpillar into this transcendent creature of fragility and beauty and perfect symmetry. We all have that kind of, we know, any of us who grew up with the Eric Carle book, we all have this very deep resonance with the butterfly and what it goes through and what it becomes. Okay, so beautiful symbolism all the way through. We've got that layer. And then I remember being in a particularly one of the dark night of the soul periods, so to speak, of that you have when you going on these journeys. A point where everything felt very, very broken and very broken down, in every respect that I could think of in my life. And I remember being gifted in synchronicity, somebody speaking about the goo inside the cocoon, and how we all, our eye and our focus is always on the transformation and the end result, but the reality of what happens to that caterpillar inside the cocoon is that it breaks down entirely into this massive mess of goo. And I would imagine there is some pain involved, and it cannot yet fathom its eventual transformational state. And that, again, that deeper layer of it was like, shit, yeah, the goo, I'm in the goo. And how helpful is that as a symbolism? That it's the metamorphosis requires the breaking down completely of another body. And here we are now, being gifted this imaginal cells, this imaginal cells part of the butterfly story. And what this is, as I said, I'm not gonna be the reiteration of the things that Pam Gregory was saying, because I won't do it justice. But my understanding of what the imaginal cells are, the imaginal cells are the coding, the biological coding within the caterpillar that is telling it that it's going to be, but it belongs to the butterfly. So the imaginal cells are of the butterfly, but they start to develop and reproduce within the caterpillar. And the caterpillar's cells start to attack them as though, well, they are a foreign body. They're a foreign substance in that body. The same way our white blood cells will attack a virus or an infection or something along those lines. So the caterpillar cells start to attack and start to try and get rid of the imaginal cells, this coding that's telling that it's going to telling it to turn into a butterfly, because the body's like, no, absolutely not. So, but what happens is this attack, this resistance from the caterpillar cells strengthens the imaginal cells and makes them reproduce and reproduce and reproduce until there reaches a tipping point where the imaginal cells are stronger or in the stronger position than the caterpillar cells, and then the butterfly transformation becomes. So, I mean, how perfect, how perfect. That speaks to me of this resistance that we feel, and every client that I've ever worked with, everyone who's ever come for energy medicine, any type of coaching, card sessions, anything that involves speaking or delving into issues in life, everyone's on a kind of a path of change. As I've said at the beginning, everyone's on a continual change. We're all changing, whether we know it or not. But everyone meets this resistance. Everyone meets the points of, I know what I'm meant to do, but I'm stuck in inactivity. I know what I'm meant to be doing. I know the path I want to take, but I'm so overwhelmed by that I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to freeze flight. I'm going to freeze fawn flight. All these trauma responses that you already know about. So what came to mind very strongly when I heard this last year, when I had the group of women with me who were with me from summer solstice to winter solstice, doing my Radiant Rose Remembered program, like my signature program. They were with me for 6 months. Now it's an intense 6 months, and it's really 6 months of looking in and doing, finding out uncomfortable truths and realizing that you're the one creating or solving at any one point about anything that's going on in your life. So it's an intense process, and it's all done through a series of different practices and monthly sessions. So the women would go away for a month, and something that should be practiced 3 times a week or continually or whatever, the choices was always theirs. Sometimes they would come back and they were like, okay, there were 2 weeks went by when I just couldn't bring myself to do that. And I heard myself saying time and time again in our like one-to-one sessions where we discussed the last month, the coming month, etc., etc. Time and time again, I heard myself saying there's as much to learn in the spaces between the practices, the times when you can't face it or don't want to do it, or there's as much to learn in that space as there is in the praxis, in the investigation, in the habit forming routines. And I was saying it from a place of instinct. And, I do say it from a place of instinct. And I say it, to clients who, maybe I've given them a routine to do, a somatic routine or some energy work to do on themselves in between sessions. If they fall down, I often say the same thing. And I mean it, and I have meant it. But this has given me this idea of this imaginal cells and this inner battle that's going on. It's given me the full understanding of what I mean when I say instinctively there's as much to learn in the spaces, because all those parts or cells or routines or habits or old ways that you have that actively stop you from doing the thing that's going to push you forward are only making the eventual transformation more and more vital. And isn't that amazing? Isn't that, it's more than amazing? Isn't that stunning? And so I really felt that concept, and that, that's not to say sit there and don't do anything ever. If if you've got the motivation, if you're being called to action, take the bloody action. If you have the next step implanted and it's something you're able to do it. But also listen and allow for the times, for the spaces when you're not doing the thing that you feel you need to do. And know that it is just making, in the end, that absolute written in the stars, meant for you desire strong enough to actually tip over into a reality and into the guided action that it's going to take to meet that reality. So what I would like to offer and invite you to do is to simply call in the imagining of the butterfly, the symbol of the butterfly. Okay, so when you have some time on your own, or you can do it now, just get nice and still. Start to notice the breath. Start to just notice where it's going. Notice the temperature of the breath. Just start to be with the breath for a little while. And then bring in, eyes closed or open, it's up to you, however you work best. Bring in the symbol of the butterfly. And what is your butterfly? Is it on its side? My tattoo's a butterfly on its side, so it's only half a butterfly technically. Is it full wing spread? Is it colourful? Is it white? Is it an admiral butterfly? What does it look like? Is it a sketch? Is it an outline? Is it real? Bring your butterfly to mind and really, really play with what your butterfly looks like, okay? And then I want you to start to, with the breath, draw this image down into the heart space, as slowly or as quickly as you like. Take your time to do this. I'm just giving you this now, and you can play with this going forward. Then with the breath, you're going to draw it down again into this core, this cauldron of being, the belly area. Okay, and when it's in there, I want you to really just allow it to expand, work, shine out through the body, through the aura, and just have that symbol give you and speak to your own imaginal cells of desire. Let it speak to whatever it is in you that really, really wants to come out and change. You may not have any clue what that is at the moment, but just let that practice totally absorb that butterfly, totally absorb it, totally absorb its colour, totally absorb its form, totally absorb its shape. And over the next few days, just listen to your own system and listen to the synchronicities that come your way, guiding you from within as to what it is that's stirring within you that wants to transform. I will say there's it on a very personal note, something that's happening with me at the moment. I can feel that tipping point in certain areas of my life where I've known there's been an action needed, or I've known that something's got to go, or I've known that I've got to treat myself differently in a specific area. And now, at this moment in time, tying in with, thank you, Pam, for the explanation, but I'm actually like repelled and repulsed by certain things and elements within my life that I'm like, oh no, I can't take another second of it. I've got to treat myself not this way, but this way. I've got to not have this pattern. I've got to do this. And it's so strong that clearly the inactivity just won't do anymore. The not doing it won't do anymore. And it's visceral. And I just want you to take from that, no matter where you're at, no matter what stage of any transformation you're at, even if it's just the idea stage, even if it's at the I've got no idea stage, but I know something's coming. I can feel that I'm not quite, something's jarring about the way things are, and I want to move forward in a direction that I don't know yet. Whatever stage you're in, just know that even in the spaces, even in the inactivity, even in the inaction, anything that's meant for you, these imaginal cells of yours, they're not literal cells, I don't think, in people, but you know what I mean, these figurative imaginal cells of your next transformation, your next move, your next metamorphosis, they will override and outweigh the resistance if it's truly, truly meant for you. So what a fabulous gift for us all. Lots and lots of love. I am actually just going to I'm going to pull one, see if anything jumps out. Yes. Let's see what this is. How beautiful. It is the cauldron that I was speaking of. Now, the actual card itself is the grandmothers. Remember your roots, perspective, trust the weavings. But look at the actual symbolism. It's exactly, it's like the rose is in like a little question mark. Spiral and question mark. And it's exactly what I was kind of asking us to do, which is bring this butterfly into the cauldron with great curiosity and find out what your imaginal cells is. So yes, if something resonates with you about ancestral memory or the mother line or the grandmothers, 100%, yeah, beautiful. But in terms of just the imagery, isn't that exactly what we were just doing in the practice? So confirmation to try this practice if ever there was one. Thank you for listening. God bless.